How's it going, you guys? It's your boy, Paul Maxey. And just a little while ago, I mentioned that at my job, I don't have a TV anymore to play games, so I've gone back to some Game Boy Advance and a little bit of DS. And one of my favorite members of Atari and Beyond, Benjamin Murphy, asked about maybe if I made a video showing my Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games. And by God, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, Ben. Ben's cool, man. He hooked me up with the computer speakers that I use with my Atari Vox. And I actually somehow went through life without knowing how computer speakers work. I'm kind of like a functioning special needs person. Yeah, so Ben got me set up with that. And that's why, well, it's not the only reason why, but it's one of the many reasons why I think he's cool. Anyway, here we go. We'll start with that old school that I know you guys like. For Game Boy, I've got Super RC Pro-Am. Good game. Tetris. You know, that never gets old. If only these games saved high scores for you. Burger Time Deluxe. I like it a lot. Super Mario Land. I have yet to beat it, so I should probably keep playing it. Of course it's great. Super Mario Land 2. 6 golden coins. Haven't beaten that yet either, so I got plenty to entertainment. Donkey Kong. As you guys probably know, this is more like a puzzle game, kind of like Mario versus Donkey Kong. Good game, though. In the Game Boy Color, Montezuma's Returns. Yeah. Hard game. I need to just play that more. Space Invaders. Oh, yeah, I've played this to the end. It's got the power-ups and everything. This is not the Space Invaders from, like, the arcade. Good game. Asteroids. I like it too. It's also got power-ups and different ships. Very good game. Game & Watch Gallery 2. That's a winner. That is definitely a winner. It might even save high scores. It might. If not, I write them down. I think that doesn't. Pocket Bomberman. Good game. Kind of more of a platformer too. But it's good. Now, into the Game Boy Advance games. Super Mario World. Absolutely. Toshi's Island. Super Mario Advance. Toshi's Island. I've barely started playing this game. I know I gotta play that more. Mario Kart. The combo of Dr. Mario and Puzzle League. Crazy Chase. Kind of an interesting little game. Kind of rare. The Flash. I've had many more games because they were selling these dirt cheap at one point, and I trade in a game if I just really don't like it or don't think I'll play it. The Flash, though, is kind of unique. It's interesting. Smuggler's Run. It's good on this. Crazy Taxi. It plays well on Game Boy Advance. Column's Crown. Tang Tang. I think Tang Tang is a puzzle game, if I'm not mistaken. Space Invaders. Yeah, man, it's got power-ups and stuff. V-Rally 3. Good racer. Denki Blocks. Another puzzle game. And I'm glad I got these puzzle games because that's a good game when you're sitting there just waiting on haircuts. You can just use Bomberman, the original classic NES series. I meant to put that with these in order, but anyway. Episode 3 of Star Wars. It's a pretty good game, actually. Scrabble. Kind of a rare game for Game Boy Advance, and it is a good game. Scrabble, what's the word? Blast. Scrabble Blast. Good game. Aggressive Inline. It's kind of like Tony Hawk. It's rollerblades. But it plays good, or I wouldn't have kept it. Mario Pinball Land. And that does save your progress. Let's go over here. This is no label, but Donkey Kong Country. I'm pretty damn sure that's what it is. Zelda. Four Swords. Link to the Past. Four Swords. I gotta play that more. My thing with Zelda games is always the same. I end up getting stuck and having to go online. Now, they always start this at first great for me. I beat a level, I beat a boss, and I get real excited, and then I get lost. And that's my one thing with Zelda games. It's like I'm not smart enough to beat them. And the original for Nintendo, I really don't think how you could have beaten it without a guide or a cheat. But I do plan to play it more. Donkey Kong, and that plays very well. That's the Nintendo Donkey Kong, and that does play like the arcade game, minus the Pie Factory, and plays very well. And it does save your high scores. Excite Bike, good game, man. We all know that. Exevious, doesn't save your high scores, but always worth a play. Ghost Rider. I kept this game because I think it has some good, blasting with shooting. It's better than you might think, Ghost Rider, believe me. Gunstar Heroes, another game where you're blasting away. For Sega Genesis, this game's worth big bucks. But for Game Boy Advance, it's not worth anything money-wise. Doesn't mean it's not good, though. It is a good game. Need for Speed. I can't read the bottom print right now. Sonic 2 Advance, good game. Boulder Dash, good game, man. Hard in those later levels. And I believe it has the original Commodore 64 version of Boulder Dash on there. So that makes it worthwhile right there. Atari Activision Anthology. And guys, this game has some homebrews. Yeah, it's got the one with the pearls. I forget right now. What is it? Help me. Goddamn. The one with the space clams or whatever. I forget right now. But it has plenty of homebrews on there. And also all the Activision games. Of course, you can't play Kaboom very well on it. But very good. Very good indeed. I think that game costs a few bucks. Here's a game that's worth a few bucks, but my label's not good. Pinball of the Dead. And I originally had the box. I bought this and I threw it out. And that's too bad because Pinball of the Dead is kind of a rare game. And I had the box and manual. And that's a shame I threw those out because I probably could have sold the box and manual just on their own for some bucks because it's kind of a rare Game Boy Advance game. Pinball of the Dead saves your high scores. Good pinball game, guys. Pac-Man Collection. Very good game. Does not have Miss Pac-Man, but I love playing Pac-Man on it and setting it for scroll so the screen's bigger even though you don't see the whole screen. Does not save high scores, but I love it. And Namco Museum plays Miss Pac-Man very well. By the way, on both of these, you can play with 5 lives. And I don't consider that cheating because it's not like they won't let you have 10, just 5. And I like to take that extra 2 live cheat in Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. Turok Evolution. Good game, much like because for the same reason I like Ghost Rider, there's some good gun blasting going on. So that's worth it. NES Classics. When this cartridge is working and not malfunctioning, it's got like hundreds of games. And you can even set it to save. But I run into problems with this cartridge, and I wouldn't be surprised if it stops working altogether. This is a must-have cartridge because it has like every Nintendo game, but I do run into problems with it, just so you know. A must-have game, guys. Konami's Arcade Advance. Very cheap, not expensive, just like Namco Museum, but a must-have. Love playing Time Pilot on it. Yaya Kung Fu is on there. Just a great must-have game. Arcade. A lot of great Konami hits on there. Gyrus, for sure. And then check it out. We've got this game. They call it, in this version, it's hard to read, like the greatest world karate championship. But what it is that game that I think you've played on Commodore 64, where you're, it's like Karate Champ, except you have 2 enemies, one on each side of you. And I'm really proud to have this game. And let's see if we can read the title under the lights. I'm sorry, man. I have decent eyes, but I cannot read that. But it's a good game. Maybe... Oh, Ultimate Martial Arts on the... Ultimate Martial Arts Simulation. But once you play it, you're going to recognize this game as a Commodore 64 karate game that you used to love. But they called this version under a different title, Ultimate Martial Arts Simulation. So that's it, Ben Murphy and all you guys. As for DS games, there's something about DS that I don't love too much, but it does have a few big ones, like Contra 4. Such a hard game. There is a cheat so you can get 100 lives. Look for it online as far as the cheat. It does work if you do the cheat exactly right. Really hard game. And if you beat it on easy, you don't get the full ending. Great game. Namco Museum, it's alright. A little disappointing for a couple reasons. Elite Beat Agents, kind of a dance rhythm game. Not bad. You need a stylist. You need a stylist to play that. Space Invaders Extreme, great game. 1. Space Invaders Extreme 2, great game, great graphics, great power-ups. Super Mario Brothers, new, gotta have it. Sonic Colors, haven't played it much yet, but I will. Dream Pinball, not quite as good as you might hope. A hell of a variety of games to choose from, but it's really hard to kind of hit the ball and make it go up high and get modes started. I'm still working on Dream Pinball, but I like it. It saves high scores, but it's a little disappointing, but not so much that I would get rid of it. I still kind of fuck with it, as people say. And then a game I really love, Metroid Pinball for Nintendo DS. An outstanding pinball game, Metroid Pinball. And you can put the Rumble Pack in. If you got the DS, that's a combo. That's part DS, part Game Boy Advance, like I have. I'm not showing it right now in picture. You put this in the Game Boy Advance part. You put this in, and you get a rumble while you play your Metroid Pinball. So that is it. And I got a couple DSs right here. Game Boy Advances. Unfortunately, they don't have the lit-up screen. Got a DS there, and I got a couple others in my bag for when I bring to work. And look at this, I got a couple cases where you hold cartridges, and this one is shaped like a little mini Game Boy Advance. These little cases here also, all these cases hold cartridges, and I use these to hold Game Boy and Nintendo DS cartridges. So that's it. I once had a lot more, but sold them off, and these are just the ones I kept that I knew I could enjoy playing. Alright guys, thanks for watching. And there's my Clone Trooper 3D printed by John George, a customer who I've known since he was 5 years old, and now he's a grown man who's doing really well, and he's in our group. So I want to say hi to you, John George, and I really do like my figure. As you see, I don't have toys all over my apartment, just in case a girl comes over. I got it's not like littered with just crap, but I really like what you did with this, John. So this toy does get a spot in my home, even though I'm not littered with toys everywhere. Alright, you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being an Atari and beyond. And thanks for being my friends, you guys. Take care.